Hey, everybody. Hey, it's Liz. Um, yeah, it's time for Cooking with Liz. Hang on. Let me get my credits. Let me get my credits. Yes, this is Satellite Sisters Presents Cooking with Liz 2022. My theme for the year, personally and on Cooking with Liz, is flourish. And it's especially appropriate today because I have FLOUR in the recipe. So there is a little flour in a biscotti. So there we go. So that's the theme for the year. Okay, it stars me, Satellite Sister Liz, and right down here, look who just walked in. Well, there's my sous chef Hooper. Say hello, Hoop. Okay, Hooper is here, though any minute now he might have an appointment. Okay, man, stick around. And so that's me and Hooper. And this is episode 3 of 2022, and this is Sandy's Biscotti with special thanks to Nancy, because there's Nancy already in the chat. Nancy is so excited. Nancy, thank you. You know, I'm very happy. You kept saying this would be easy and delicious, which is what I was in the mood for this week, easy and delicious. I'll explain some of that later. So hang on. So, okay. I had to do a lot of this to get started before you got here, because did you know that biscotti means baked twice? Me neither. That doesn't even sound right, does it? But that's what it said on YouTube. I watched a whole bunch of biscotti videos, all of whom give different instructions, by the way. So that's why I'm just doing what Sandy said. You know, some people melted the butter, some people had olive oil, some people, anyway. It's a mess over there on YouTube, or here on YouTube, which is where we are. So I just went by Sandy's book. So before you got here, I did some of the preparation. Any minute now. Okay, so in 3 minutes, the first bake will be done. The timer will go off. I'm going to pull it out so that you can see the first step. Well, it's like the 5th step, but the first part of the baking. You'll have to take my word for it that it already smells delicious in the kitchen here. So here you go. What do? We review the recipe, and I actually have some observations about the recipe. So first I have an observation about what happens when you cook regularly, which is not something I did before the current unpleasantness. Now that we're on year 3 of it, like it used to be, because I cook so rarely, that anytime I went to cook, you just didn't have any of the ingredients. You know, it's like, well, you have flour and sugar and salt. And I'm like, nope. Or I would usually have salt, but no, I didn't have flour and sugar. But when I was making this recipe, so what goes into this? Flour, sugar, baking powder. I had it. Salt I had, butter I had, slivered almonds did not have, dried cranberries did not have, but eggs I had, and vanilla extract I had. Now, for those of you who have been following along Cooking with Liz, it's just sort of miraculous. It's what I used to call Liz's larder. Remember? Liz's larder never had anything in it. So when I would go to make something, I couldn't just say, oh yeah, you know, I had some sugar. But now I did. Let me show you over here. You can see the things that were in the larder. So I had flour ready to go. Sugar, yeah, I had some. It was already here. Let's see. I had, this to me was the most miraculous. Like when I went into the larder, I was like, well, there's no chance I have baking powder. When would I ever have had that? Because I don't really bake. Apparently I do, or I did. It looks, there was just enough baking powder gone to indicate to me that maybe once I baked. But, you know, sometime during the current unpleasantness, so you can tell me, does baking powder expire? I couldn't find anything on the package that indicated that it might be too old. So there's that. And then, when did I buy this? Vanilla extract? I think I must have made something very early on in the pandemic that now, it was just so long ago, I have forgotten. But very early on, I must have done something that had vanilla in it. Okay, so that means now, you hear that? It means that the biscotti has been in the oven for 30 minutes. And I'm going to take it out right now because here's the trick with producing tonight's show. It needs to cool for 20 minutes before I do the next thing. So hang on. I'm going to pull it out so you can see it. Let's see here. Here we go. Okay. Now, how about that? Okay, so that's just going to go there. All right. Whoops, I can turn that off now. So now I'm going to set the timer for 20 minutes because we have a lot we can do in the 20 minutes while it cools. And then what happens, right, Nancy? After it cools, then I slice it, then you turn it on the side, then you put it back in the oven. That's the twice baked part, which I did not have any idea. And I also don't believe that biscotti, that it actually means twice baked, but I'm just going with it. So Casey, you've been told to keep your baking powder in the freezer. I do have lots of empty room in my freezer. So, okay, so I'm going to turn this on for 20 minutes. 2, 3. Okay, and let me go back to, okay, so my number one observation is the more you cook, the more you can cook because you've got stuff in the larder. That's really a miracle. Okay, number 2 observation, and Sandy, this is not a complaint, but it's just a thing. It's a thing that happens with recipes. So I'm reading through the directions. By the way, did you see it says, don't forget to bake some for your satellite sisters? That's what I'm doing. Okay, so the direction is heat oven to 350, combine flour, sugar, baking powder, and salt. So far, so good, right? Step 1, check. Step 2, check. Step number 3, cut in butter. I don't know what that really means. I mean, I know that's the step where I add in the butter, but the way it says cut it in makes me think there's something special about the way the butter gets added in. So I didn't really know. And just at that moment when I'm puzzling over the cutting in, I got a text from Satellite Sisters accountant and procurement director Diane Gray, just wishing me luck on the biscotti because she said she knows this can be hard. So she grew up in Iowa or somewhere, so I thought she probably knows how to handle butter. So I texted her back, and I'm like, hey, do you know what cut in butter means? And she was like, oh, yeah, her mother used to do it. She had some kind of special implement, which you don't really need. But so she said, there are a million different videos on YouTube about how to cut in butter, but it's basically putting it in little pieces, chopping it up a little bit. So I went the YouTube route and I watched, 3 or 4 different videos about how to cut in butter. And so I think I did okay. I guess the key is to kind of mash it up really, but leave it in little chunks enough so that as it melts, as it's baking, it creates part of the structure of the bake, as they would say on Great British Baking Show. You know how they always talk about the structure? What does he say, Paul Hollywood? The crumb structure? I think cutting in the butter that way, you can call Paul if you want to, but that's what I decided. So anyway, so I cut in the butter. Then I stirred in the almonds. So I did have to buy these. I've never purchased slivered almonds before. So that was good. Then it was the cranberries. Of course, I went with the craisins. We love the Ocean Spray brand here at Satellite Sisters. As I've mentioned, Lian is even a member of the Cranberry Club. Oh, Hooper's Date is here. Did you hear the doorbell just now? That's a dog walker that comes in the evening to take him for a walk because, if you listen to the podcast, you'll know I had surgery on my leg again last week. I'll have a few details later. So I'm not exactly walking the dog this week. Anyway, so craisins went in there. I have a question about this. This is says sweetened, hi, says sweetened dried cranberries. I'm not sure why they need to be sweetened. So if anyone knows like what that is, you can tell me. So I also bought a package of the ones that were less sweet. And I thought maybe next time I make it, I'll try it that way. So, okay, so stir in the almonds and cranberries, stir in the eggs and vanilla, mix until dough holds together, which is very subjective. Um, so, but, I did that. It seemed a little dry to me. But Nancy, I think you had sent me a note, like a secret back channel, satellite sister situation note, where you said sometimes you add a little bit of water because sometimes it feels too dry. So that's what I did, Nancy. First, I added a tiny bit of water, and then I also just wet my hands. So as I was working it, obviously that added a little moisture, because some of the videos on YouTube, they have super wet batter. So I know probably every Italian mama in history has had her own biscotti recipe. So anyway, that's the way that worked. So you do that. Then you divide the dough in half, and because you're going to get 2 loaves. So let's go back to what I have created here. Maybe hold on, I'll pull the chair closer so you can see that. So see how good that looks? Now, I did do a test batch that I'm going to show you when all of this is over, because this won't quite be done when all of this is over. And you'll see that my test batch was what I would say dimensionally challenged. So I think I got the roll shape and size a little better on the second batch. Thank you, Nancy. I know it's amazing. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to stand here, and I'm kind of standing on one leg, but that's okay. It's fun. So you put. You know what I was going to show you? I was going to show you the logs before I baked it, just to prove that I actually did do it the way Sandy told me to do it. So I took pictures. Hold on. All right. So there it is. So it was on my cutting board with a little bit of flour. Can you see that? And that's the way it looked when I was working it. And then when I got it, then I put it on the pan with the parchment. Another thing I already owned, parchment. Sometimes I amaze myself. So yeah, so that's what it looked like before it went in, which was 30 minutes before you arrived. So, okay, so that's what's happening there. So this is what comes out. And so it cools for 20 minutes, and then, okay, it bakes for 30 minutes, transfer to wire rack and cool for 20 minutes. I had the debate about whether I should buy a wire rack, of course, because that I don't own. And I do like to get people on the blower for supplies, but I thought, how much more baking am I going to do in my life? Do I really need? I don't really think I need a wire rack. So I hope that's okay. It's just going to sit there like that. Or maybe I should move it off the stove so it's cooler to cool. I don't know. So, okay, so that's what's happening now. And then, so in 20 minutes, or now in 13 minutes, that's when we slice it. I thought that's the part I wanted you to see, because I think that's the hardest and most critical. So I wanted you to see if I could do it. We had the discussion last week, and also on the podcast, I believe. It calls for a serrated knife. So I have this one, which is, basically a bread knife. Or somebody in the Satellite Sisters Facebook group said I could just use like a steak knife. So if there's time and you want to vote, what do you think? Look, this was the one I used on the test batch. Maybe I should try this one on the final batch. You tell me. The wire rack is to keep it from being a little soggy on the bottom. Okay, garden poet. Okay, yeah, you don't want a soggy biscotti. That does not sound Italiano. Okay, so with the serrated knife, cut diagonally into 3/4 inch pieces. Again, I had some dimensional challenges. I will show you that. Then you return to the baking sheet, putting the cut sides down. I almost did that wrong in the test batch. I just left them sliced, and then I realized, no, I had to put it cut side down. Then bake for 15 minutes until brown and firm. Cool on wire rack. There's the wire rack again. So wire rack is in the recipe twice. Oh well. And we'll keep in the container for weeks. Well, these are not, based on what I've heard about how delicious they are, I don't think I need to worry about having them around for weeks. Plus, have you listened to this week's podcast? I mean, seriously, if you haven't, I don't know what you're waiting for. But Lian starts the show by reminding Julie and I that it's her birthday this weekend, and she demands to know what we're getting her. Now, as a family, we are not great with birthdays or birthday gifts. Some people are good at it. Lian is actually very good at giving people gifts. I am terrible at it. And so Lian wanted to know, like, what did she have coming her way? So, of course, my answer at the time was nothing. I had not thought about it. But then I realized that here we are, year 3 of the pandemic. I'm continuing to do things I've never done. One of them would be make baked goods and bring them to Lian. Now, this is like if the word gets out to my family that I'm baking and bringing things to people, I just don't know what will happen. But I thought, Lian, because again, you listen to the podcast every week, she feels very strongly about her coffee. She is a coffee person. And she's such a strong coffee person that she's got to be a biscotti person. We've never had this discussion. I'm sure she likes biscotti. So I decided, because she's such a coffee person, to give her a batch of the biscotti for her birthday. Now, there's some hilarity in that, but also I'll find she's also really good. Remember early on in Cooking with Liz, she showed me how to wrap things up and present things. So maybe I'll do that. I'm going to see her tomorrow night, and there will be a biscotti presentation. So that's I don't think Lian was going to be in the chat tonight. If you are, Lian, sorry I blew the surprise, but if any of you know Lian, don't tell her. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to package the biscotti and give them to Lian for her birthday. So, okay, you can take another view. It's just cooling. That's not a great action shot, just watching a biscotti cool. But that's what the recipe calls for, so I don't want to rush it. Diane Gray says I need to be the family baker. Yeah, we don't really have a family baker, but hang on. Remember, I'm going into my notes of all of the things I have learned, right? So remember the dill sauce fiasco, to cook with confidence. These are the notes that are going to be the Cooking with Liz cookbook. Well, this one is probably one of the most important. No eyeballing and baking. Said it a million times. I'm just such a natural eyeballer. I just don't think baking is my calling. But maybe I'm about to find out. Maybe these will be so delicious, I will decide to become the family, or maybe not the family baker, Diane, maybe just family biscotti maker. Because they're also, even in the recipe here, there are lots of alternatives, so I like that. Okay, so what do we have? Okay, we have more cooling to be done. So I was going to do something here. Darn it, I thought I'd get through this whole show without my light falling down. Hang on. My God. My sous chef and producer is out, just taking a walk around the neighborhood, so I can't have him help. Okay, I'm just going to set this up again. Then we are going to have what most cooking shows do not have. Hold on, let me just put this over here. This is the one-legged part that does make things a little bit difficult. Okay. Okay, most cooking shows do not break for a short medical surgical report, but I'm going to do that just because I am standing up here on two legs. And if you listen to the podcast, then you know I had like a crazy surgery snafu last week. But don't worry, it was all fine. But you have to listen to the whole story. Make sure you download the show and listen to it. Anyway, turns out, last year at the beginning of the year, I broke my leg and my knee, and I've been working on it, and I've been getting better little by little, getting a little better, PT, swimming, and I just kept consistently getting better all year until I didn't. And then I just stopped getting better, and I wasn't done. So that got a little discouraging. At the end of the year, I was really discouraged because I really thought, my God, am I never going to get this old lefty like fully operational again? So I went in and I talked to a new surgeon. The whole drama with the surgeon, the original surgeon, what a jerk. And they explained to me what they could go in and do. They could do a few other little things while they're in there. Some of these things are too gruesome to describe while we're about to eat. But anyway, so last week I went for it. I thought, well, I just gotta make my move here. We have to be fully functional. So I did put a photo of this in my Facebook stories, just as a little teaser for this week, like, ooh, I have a story to tell. Some of you got very concerned that I took another fall. I did not take another fall. I had a little surgery, so now I'm back in rehab, all good. But there's a part of my costume tonight that is related to this, which is why I'm telling you this story. So I thought I would just show you this because I knew we would have a little time to spend together. Okay, so if you look down here, what I had, you're not going to be able to see that. Hang on. So, see that? That is my favorite accessory. That is an ice sleeve that many of you know the name Corny. Corny was the executive producer of our show for many years. Corny and her mom, Emmy. I love them both. Emmy's had like all kinds of new limbs attached and joints redone and everything. So when I first had surgery last year, they sent me this as a gift. It's called a hurt skirt, by the way. I know people are going to ask. Anyway, so as I'm cooking for you, standing mainly on two legs, feeling pretty good. I've got the hurt skirt on the one knee, and I'm just doing it. So yes, it is, Sharon. It's just all ice in there. I keep it in the freezer with some of my frozen meat, the stuff that I get from Butcher Box. My freezer is basically Butcher Box and my hurt skirt. That's what's happening in there. So there you go. I know Telemed, Biscotti and Telemed. Thank you, Diane. I just know people were asking. I'm not going to go into what they actually did. I'm just going to tell you I already feel a lot better. So that's the key. And I've been out and about, and I'm already off the crutches from last week, so I'm good. But that's why I picked a Biscotti for this week, because I knew I would need something simple, that I was not going to be able to do too much walking around because of the med surge situation. So that's all you need to know about that. Okay, it says I have 3 more minutes left, but I feel like I'm ready to cut into it. Is this why I'm so bad at baking? Because I don't respect the clock and the timeline. So we are going to go move this over here, just reorganize. I almost just dropped the light again. Okay, that has definitely cooled down. So now this is where the dimensions with serrated knife cut diagonally into 3/4 inch pieces. Now, obviously the 3/4 inch is how wide they are, right? So that part, I did not have a dimensional challenge with that. I had a dimensional challenge in my test batch of making the loaf wide enough. But I'll show you what I mean a little bit later. So here's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to start doing this. So diagonally, can you see me do this? Yes. Hold on. Let me just move this around a little bit. Okay, there goes the light again. Screw it. I'm not going to even pick it up this time. Okay, so that's just a little end piece. So look at that. Last time they sort of crumbled apart. Yum, yum, yum. Okay, can you see that? Look at. Sharon always eats the ends. That's what I'm going to do as soon as you leave, Sharon. I'm not going to give Lian the ends. Okay. I'm glad I'm using the big knife. Thank you for those who reinforce that this is the good one. Okay. So that's the timer telling me that it's okay to start cutting. So, okay. So, oh God. Okay. This is actually, as promised, Nancy and Sandy, super easy. Okay. So I'm going to show you this. So there you go. See, I sliced them. Now here's the thing I almost forgot to do last time is lay them on the side, right? Because according to Sandy's recipe, it says return to baking sheet, placing cut sides down. So we're going to go like this. See if I can do this without smashing them up. Okay. Can you see that? Okay. This one looks like that's going to fall apart if I'm not careful. Put that there. Put the good looking ones all in one part of the pan. And then the ends here. So oh, wait a minute. Some of these are not cut size down. See, I was not focusing. Cut side down. Okay, now they're all cut side down. So voila. Looks so good. Thank you. Right, so now, hold on. Now I have to move the chair and the camera again. It's really hard to do. Not that it's heavy, it's just the balance situation. Okay, so I'm putting this back in here. And I'm going to set the timer again for 15 minutes. You won't be here that whole 15 minutes, but okay, there you go. So that's going back in there. This is the twice baking. Okay, now I want to show you my dimensionally challenged test batch. And I'm going to sample them because these are not the ones I'm giving to Lian. The good ones are what Lian's going to get for her birthday. These I saved for us right now. So hang on. Okay, so these are the ones I cooked earlier. And when I say dimensionally challenged, I just meant they're shorties. See, they're little shorties. So this time I made the loaf wider, which was obviously the key. You know, they had the dimension noted in the recipe, but I eyeballed it. And so these are little shorties. So these are Liz's special shorties. And I'm going to eat one now and we'll decide how good they are. Okay, all right. And I'll read some of the comments. And okay, here we go. Mm. This is really delicious. And Nancy, really good. And I was afraid that they would be either too crumbly or too dry, but no, no. They are firm, yet a little bit, I don't know what the word is in Italian, but inside just a little bit, not really soft, but slightly pliable, but not soft. Nancy's happy, so am I. Mm. Okay, so I'm telling you, not a baker, come from a family of not bakers. I would do this anytime. And this is the key of cooking with Liz, right? Remember, I'm supposed to be learning things that I would actually make again. That could be staples. That if people were coming over, I could just whip it up. Nancy likes them a little bit chewy. That's the word I was looking for. Chewy. They are a little bit chewy. Mm. Hmm. It's okay saying dimension matters less than consistency. Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good. Because the dimension here, not totally molto bene, but the consistency, molto molto bene. If only Stanley Tucci was here. I think I need a cup of coffee or tea. I know, Mary, I do, but it's a little late in the day for coffee. How is biscotti and red wine? Because that was probably going to be my next move. Okay, so this biscotti is a hit. I recommend this. If I can, if I can do it, anyone can do it. You saw how many ingredients there are. Super easy, not a lot. You can do it. I learned something. The baking twice. Who knew? You know, second one, I'm sure. I'll take some pictures of the final batch when it comes out, and post that in the Facebook group or here. So, okay, good. All right. So, little reminder, and then we got to go because yeah, the recipe. Oh, I don't know if it's on the website. Kathy, the recipe is in the Satellite Sisters Facebook group, but I'll put it on the website. Let me figure out how to do that because we don't normally put it there. But now that I'm doing this here on YouTube, so many platforms. We have so many platforms. Um, the dramatic Satellite Sisters platform expansion of 2022. So that's what I wanted to mention. So here we are on YouTube. We're brand new on YouTube. And on this week's show, for those of you who have listened, I asked a special favor. I wanted to see if we could get to 1,000 subscribers by April 1st. So I put the challenge down. We were at 850. Nancy, you're right. Lian put the recipe in Pep Talk. So if you don't subscribe to Pep Talk, see what you're missing. So anyway, I wanted to get to 1,000 subscribers in the YouTube channel, and I asked you to do that in the podcast. And I love you guys because I couldn't believe how quickly the numbers went up. Hold on, I'm going to see what my current number is right now. My God. Oh, there I am live talking to myself. Okay, this is weird, right? Okay. 979 members already. That is very exciting. So from 850 to 979 just in a couple of days. So we're easily going to get over 1,000 because everyone here is going to go tell their friends how much fun we have here on the Satellite Sisters YouTube channel. This video is easy to share with your friends, especially with your non-baking friends. I think those are my people. Anyway, so thank you, Kathy. Yes, congratulations to us. So now I'm going to have to set a new goal. I thought 1,000 by April 1 was really a stretch goal, but I think we're going to have to go for 1,500 by, I don't know, May 1st or something. That's when I'll announce it on the next show. Our next show is March 1st. Oh, but okay, so next Cooking with Liz, that's what I was trying to say. So next week, right here, Thursday night, 5 p.m. Remember, it is I Am Betty Crocker season, Cooking with Liz. I've got the big Betty. You can bet that Betty Crocker was involved in mixing up this dough here. So next week, I'm doing another little bake project. It will be my last, directly from the Cookbook, Betty Crocker cookbook. I'm going to make a dump cake, which I had never ever even heard of before, but many of you told me that I should try it. And anything called a dump cake sounds pretty easy, so that is right up my alley. I was gonna go with, like, a pineapple flavor, haven't quite decided yet. I will post that somewhere, I'll let you know. If you follow us, in the Facebook group, or if you like the Facebook page, or if you follow us on Instagram, that, info usually goes there. But anyway, so that's what next week is, Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Garden Poet says, "Yeah, that should be easy." I'm going for the easy. I'm still rehabbing a major major limb here. But luckily it's neither of my two arms. It's really, you know, legs, uh, other than the standing, do not hold me back in my cooking. So thank you so much for being here tonight. It is really fun. I love being able to see the comments. Oh, thank you, Mary Morgan, for commenting on my earrings. I just found these in my, how sometimes shopping in your closet, as they say. Um, okay, so I'm going to leave you now. Thank you for all of the encouragement, Nancy. Thank you for hounding me, Sandy. Thank you for for a delicious recipe. And now we'll see how it goes as an actual birthday offering. So have a good night, everyone. See you back here in a week. You know how I close. Peace and sauce.